Good evening and welcome to the City of Battle Creek, Michigan. And this is our Battle Creek City Commission meeting for February 7th, 2023. It is 7 o'clock. We will stand and have a moment of silence for our invocation, and then we're going to have our Pledge of Allegiance led by Commissioner Simmons. Please stand if you're able to. Commissioner Simmons.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Simmons. Next item on our agenda is roll call. Madam Clerk, when you're ready.
Commissioner Ballard.
Present.
Commissioner Lance.
Present.
Commissioner Morris.
Present.
Commissioner O'Donnell.
Here.
Mayor Banky.
Here.
Commissioner Reynolds.
Present.
Commissioner Simmons.
Here.
Commissioner Smith.
Present.
And Vice Mayor Sophia. Here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk, and thank you to each of the commissioners for being here. We do have 100% of the commission here tonight. We're going to have our proclamations and awards. We have the proclamation for Black History Month that we'll have first, and I believe Ms. Paulus is here. Yes. And then secondly, we'll have our beautiful Battle Creek Awards. And I just wanted to say it's been a long time since we've had these. We look forward to awarding these tonight. I believe 3 of the homes owners are here, and we look forward to presenting those. Kyra, do you want to come up? And if anyone else from Urban League is here, or if anyone would like just to come up with Kyra, please. I'm so glad to have you before you move on to your new job. And thank you very much and congratulations for all your hard work. I'd like to offer you the microphone and talk a little bit about some of the activities that are taking place this month of February, if you don't mind.
Well, good evening again. I'm Kyra Wallace, and I have the privilege of serving as the President and CEO for the Southwestern Michigan Urban League. So thank you so much for having me. We do have a few things coming up. We will be having a program hosted at Second Missionary Baptist Church, which will be a Black History program. However, this year we're including all of the African diaspora, so individuals from our Congolese community that we have here, our Nigerian community that we have here, and more. So I don't want to start naming them all and then forget some and be like, ah. And of course, you know, African-American citizens, right? And so we're very much looking forward to that and excited about that event. So again, that's going to be at Second Missionary Baptist Church on the 21st, which is a Sunday, at 3 o'clock. Yeah, I had to remember. We are also hosting an essay contest surrounding books, literature written by African Americans, and it's persuasive writing, right, to really get you thinking about specific aspects and topics that affect our African American community greatly. If you want further information, you can A, check out our Facebook page, Southwestern Michigan Urban League, as we have all of that information on there, or B, call the office at 269-962-5553. Again, that number is 269-962-5553, and it will explain, you know, what the criteria is. We'll give you the rubric and all of that. And there's a first prize winner of $500, so that should be encouraging for people to participate, because we really would like for people to participate and actually read the literature. So that's what I'll share.
Carla, did you want to say anything? Okay. All right, very good. There's one other item that will take place at Washington Heights every Saturday from 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock. There's a family night video, or a movie night, I believe it's called. And the first one was this past Saturday, and the second one is coming up on Saturday. So if you're not doing anything, the weather's nice, come up and join Washington Heights. Pastor Monique French and her congregation will have a nice movie night. I'm going to present this to Kyra, and I would like to say We appreciate everything that you've done during your tenure here in Battle Creek. We will miss you, but I'm sure you're going to come back and visit. All right, good. Thank you very much. Thank you. Congratulations. Our first Beautiful Battle Creek Award is Louise Holmes, 395 Cliff Street. And I've got to be honest with you, I drove by your home and it is beautiful this morning. Your car was in the driveway, and I just love what you've done to that house. So I'm not going to try to put you on the spot, but I'd like to have you share with us what you did in the renovation, if you don't mind. Well, tell us about the painting of the house. I love how you did that. Okay. Oh, that's beautiful. I really feel that your renovation to your home encourages other neighbors to do the same thing. It doesn't take that much really to identify those things. I know my wife tells me that we need a new bathtub, and I know that we need a new bathtub, but getting it done is another thing. But I think it's important as a community that we look at our beautiful homes that we have in our community, and yours certainly is one. I congratulate you, and thank you very much, and we're going to have a couple pictures taken here. Congratulations. We really appreciate it. Thanks. Melissa, are you here? Now, Melissa and I have met electronically, but not in person yet. So I won't share with you everything, but I appreciate you bringing to my attention your concern. Would you mind telling us a little bit about your home and what you've done to it?
So I bought this little house off of a friend that's here tonight, and I moved here from Utah a year and a half ago, and I started on the inside, and then this past summer I just re-sided it and did a driveway and porch and fence and things like that. And while I was re-siding it, I accidentally cut off my water meter. And so the city sent me a big bill. That's why I emailed the mayor. I'm like, what's going on? But anyway, that's it. It's a cute little house. And you're right, since I've done my siding, there's 3 houses on Territorial that have copied my exact siding. And my neighbor across the street is re-siding his house. So it does. That's great.
Well, welcome to Battle Creek. I didn't realize you came from Utah. Yes. And we appreciate your hard work and your investment into our community. It means a big difference. Thank you. Congratulations. And do we have the proprietors of One Nation? Are they here tonight? Yes. That's fine. Would you mind telling us a little bit about perhaps the menu or what you're doing differently at One Nation? Thanks.
So we're doing a lot of different things right now. We're currently participating in Cue the Creek. We pride ourselves in our brisket. And hopefully you guys will see us at the Mac and Cheese Festival here in about 2 months. So we're just trying to get more involved in the community and with the schools.
Well, my wife loves your baked potato. So I get sent up there to get a baked potato because, believe it or not, restaurants aren't having baked potatoes like we used to. Yours are very big, and they're good. So on behalf of the City Commission, we want to thank all 3 of you this evening. Like I said, one house at a time makes a difference in our community. You're welcome. Ted, do you mind announcing some of the other participants that we'll either see at another meeting
Yep, happy to do that, Mayor. I know we've got a few folks that I don't think were able to join us this evening, but I can run through the rest of the list real quickly. In Ward 3, NPC 1, the City of Battle Creek actually at 222 Cliff Street, which is our fire station number 3. In Ward 4, NPC 3, Rigoberto Hurtado Diaz at 223 Winter Street. In Ward 4, NPC 3, Ezekiel Jr. and Verna Robinson at 132 Gogwak Street West. In Ward 1 at NPC 5, Rebecca Rainey at 208 Woodlawn Avenue North. And then finally in Ward 3, NPC 1, Amy Chapra at 208 Cliff Street.
Thank you very much, Ted. And then I would assume going forward, it will be the first meeting of every month we'll present the beautiful Battle Creek Awards?
I believe that's the protocol, Mayor.
Good. Any commission comments about the beautiful Battle Creek Awards? All right, and if you would like to make a nomination, I believe if you contact Chris Lucier, he'll be more than willing to take your nomination and check it out. Next item on our agenda is our presentation on our audit, and I'm going to announce that Nate Balderman is our representative. I'm going to turn it over to Ted so he can announce Nate and maybe say anything that he would like to offer before the presentation.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor, and I won't delay much. I know that our Assistant Revenue Services Manager, Aaron Kuhn, is here with us this evening. I see Linda Morrison is here as well, but I think the intent is to jump right into the presentation, so we'll turn it over to Reman Robinson.
Welcome, Nate.
All right. Thank you. To introduce myself, my name is Nate Balderman. I'm a principal with Raymond, have worked with Raymond for over 25 years. Tonight I'm here on behalf of Stephen Bland, who is assigning principal on the engagement. I am actually taking over from Stephen in the next year. Stephen has taken on the role of Chief Operating Officer for Raymond, and so he's moved into a new role, and now I'll be stepping in. I've worked with Stephen for years, as well as Mark Kettner before him. So we'll be transitioning. Actually was able this year, while I wasn't signing principal, met with Linda and Aaron and started the transition process this year. So I will be signing starting next year. Just this evening, just to kind of go over the overall audit process, how the audit went, much like what has been presented in the past. There were 3 separate reports that we issued for the city. The largest is this annual comprehensive financial report. Again, this is the city goes above and beyond with this. This is more than what's required by the state of Michigan, but it meets all the requirements of the GFOA's program for excellence. The award that you have in here is actually on last year's report, but this year's report will go through the same thing, the same process, and we fully expect that you will get that. But this report, again, 250 some pages. We have 3 pages. I think it's 3 if it's not expanded. It's a little bit reformatted this year when you go to look at it. They actually put the opinion at the front of the report now. So if you're looking for the opinion, it's in the first 2 paragraphs. And it's what is considered to be an unmodified or a clean opinion. I won't go through the financial details, anything like that. Typically what the City Commission is looking for many times is that general fund balance. You did end at over 27% of your budgeted revenues, which is a very healthy fund balance. The other 2 reports that we issue, or 2 documents that we issue, is one is a Single Audit Act compliance report. This kind of summarizes the overall results of the audit. When you look at this report, there's a summary of auditor's result that's in this report. It goes through, it's kind of your report card for the year in terms of whether or not you had an unmodified opinion. That's documented there. We also note in that whether or not on the compliance side, because you had over $12 million of federal expenditures during the year, details the programs that we looked at as a part of our single audit, and we had an unmodified opinion on those as well. And those are detailed on page 10 of that report when you look at that. Again, this year with all of the extra federal stimulus dollars, we did look at the coronavirus state and local fiscal recovery fund. That was a part of what we looked at this year, and likely we'll be looking at for the next couple of years as well. So very clean report, no significant deficiencies, no material weaknesses, no findings. And then the very last document that you have, this is a lot of times referred as the management letter. This document is kind of how did the audit go? Management cooperated. Once again, working with Linda and now with Aaron, the transition, lots of transitions happening, but within the finance department and then within our team as well, just in terms of the principal, things went well. There were a couple of comments, and most of that doesn't raise to the level where we would consider them to be findings. They're just ways that we are recommending that there's some improvements that could happen in terms of timing and certain processes that are in place. But again, nothing major, and that's why it's in this letter rather than the single audit report. But again, I'm looking forward to working with the city. I think I worked on the city probably about 20 years ago, 25 years ago maybe, was the first time I had worked on the city's audit, but excited to get involved with your audit in the future. So we'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have for me.
Any questions from the commission? Nate, real quick, like the increase in the general fund balance, are you seeing that across the board in other municipalities too, or are we unique?
It is fairly common right now because of those stimulus funds, especially with that revenue loss component of it. They're able to pull in some of that in different perspectives. Again, I don't know the details of how you're using that, but it has been something. And even just overall, in many municipalities, I have seen that general step up in fund balance. Again, kind of waiting for that cliff to happen and for those revenues to go down. But for right now, it is fairly frequent that we see that in a higher dollar amount right now.
Once again, any other questions for Nate? Nate, I want to thank you very much. We appreciate it, and we look forward to working with you again next year.
Right. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Next item on our agenda is chair noting any added or deleted resolutions.
Resolution 62 was pulled from the agenda.
All right, next item on the agenda is petitions, communications, and reports.
There were none.
Thank you very much. Next item on our agenda is introduction of ordinances, 01-2023, proposed ordinance 01-2023. Please go ahead.
Chapter 1064 contains parameters as to collection days and the times that refuse can be collected to better ensure the peace and tranquility of residential neighborhoods. On rare occasion, such as this past December when a blizzard was forecast and came to fruition, the city contractor requested to begin collection a half an hour early to get ahead of the storm and try to complete all refuse collection. There is a reference in section 25 related to collection being subject to weather conditions, but it doesn't specifically allow vehicle operation to begin outside the times of vehicle operation in section 55. The city manager desires these amendments be made to give clear authority for deviations from these specific provisions in response to extreme weather events. This proposed ordinance, number 01-2023, seeks to amend sections 25 and 55K of Chapter 1064, Garbage and Refuse Collection and Disposal, to allow the city manager to temporarily alter pickup days and/or times in response to an extreme weather event.
So moved.
Support.
Been moved and supported to introduce ordinance 01-2023. Are there any public comments at this time? Are there any public comments on the introduction of ordinance 01-2023? Seeing none, are there any commission comments? Commissioner Simmons.
Just, I guess, a question for city staff. We're amending this for extreme weather. We also know that recently, this is one of the issues that I get probably the most frequent number of calls on, garbage collection, staffing shortages. Are there any other mechanisms, like if they want to amend those hours for other, aside from weather. Could we be flexible with that at all? Could that be built into this? And Ted, I'm not sure if you're prepared to answer that, or you can get, this is just the introduction, I understand, and it's going to come back to us again. So I guess that's a question that.
We can certainly look into that,
Yeah.
Commissioner. I can also defer to Jill if she has any comments she wants to make right now.
Sure.
So.
So that wouldn't be covered here. I mean, I think Rebecca is pretty hesitant because it is such a concern to residents if refuse, if there's a lot of noise and refuse is picked up earlier than what is allowed. I think they probably would just work a little later. This was a pretty unique situation that we know this blizzard is coming at such and such a time, and if we can just start a little earlier, we can get ahead of it. So, certainly it's up to Rebecca, but I think given how concerned that, what a problem that is for residents to have that kind of noise earlier than what's allowed in the ordinance, I would think she'd be hesitant to do that for staffing shortages.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other commission comments at this time? Seeing none, would you please vote on the introduction of Ordinance 01, 2023?
Mine's not coming up. Jeez. It's not happy with me this evening. I'm going to have to voice vote because it's not coming up on screen. I'm hitting refresh.
And you're an IT guy.
Yeah. Oh, it decided to arrive. Thanks for scaring it.
They're teaching us.
There we go.
And the introduction of Ordinance 01, 2023 has been introduced. Next item on our agenda is introduction of 02, 2023. Madam Clerk, when you're ready.
Chapter 430 of ordinances related to snow emergencies has not been updated for more than 40 years. These amendments are proposed to update methods of communicating matters related to snow and other weather-related emergencies to residents and visitors to the city, including posting to the city website. Amendments are also proposed to ungender language consistent with the voter-approved charter amendment from March of 2020. Finally, language is proposed to be added in Section 03 to allow the city manager to take additional steps related to city streets and sidewalks in instances of heavy snow, freezing rain, and sleet beyond parking prohibitions that are deemed in the best interest of residents and safety. This proposed ordinance, number 02-2023, seeks to amend Sections 02 through 06 of Chapter 430, Snow Emergencies, to update methods of communication, ungender language, and allow the city manager to take additional steps related to city streets and sidewalks as deemed necessary.
Move to adopt.
Support.
Been moved and supported to introduce 02-2023. Are there any public comments at this time? Yes, Reese.
Reese Atkins, 24 Popular, Battle Creek, Michigan. When I looked at this, when I first read it, one of the things that we need to look at when we're redoing this is a lot of our senior citizens that are out there that are trying to get things done that cannot, that we need to be a little bit more lenient with these senior citizens who cannot get out and shovel sidewalks or driveways before we decide to start sending a bunch of notices. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other public comments at this time? John?
John Kennefick, 234 South Avenue. Mayor, you can call me Mr. Kennefick. In regards to this, it brought up some interesting questions in regards to snow removal. I understand the purpose of clearing the streets of cars or removing cars from the street so it's easier to plow. There are some properties that don't have any parking space in front of them. I know my particular residence would have 4 cars parked in front of them, and there is no parking space because there's no room on the property. What are you going to do about them? Next, when I was up here before, and in the language of this emergency order, it says streets and sidewalks. I was up here before and simply asked you a series of questions. How much money have you taken in from Consumer Power for them to run in the right-of-way of the public right-of-way? No response. You're taking money in there. How much money are you taking in from Semco Energy to run their gas lines in the right-of-way where the sidewalks are? You get paid for that. How much money were you taking in from Comcast due to the the FCC, and receive money from that? You want people to go out and shovel snow, but it's your responsibility. That's the government of Battle Creek's territory. By going out there, they either have to pay to have it done, which is a tax on their life. They have to do it themselves, which is still a tax on their life, because they have to go out there and physically move the snow. Well, you only have so many years left in your life, and you're doing it for somebody else who's getting paid for that but doesn't do it. And finally, the matter in regards to sidewalks, not the streets, but the sidewalks that are included in this ordinance change. Did anybody reach out to Lori Sullivan and ask her why the city government cited her for trimming some hedge limbs in the right-of-way? I spoke with her husband when trying to get hold of her, and he responded back to me by my telephone, stating basically that there had been no response from the government of Battle Creek, let alone the city commission of Battle Creek. So you might want to consider doing follow-up, because you like it when you want us to do your job, and when you don't like it, you can cite us. Which is it? Or haven't you made up your minds? Thank you.
Are there any other public comments at this time? Okay, we'll move on. Are there any commission comments regarding meeting business? No, excuse me. We need to go back up to the proposed ordinance. Are there any other public comments on the proposed introduction of ordinance 02-2023? Seeing none, any commission comments? Commissioner Ballard?
I just believe that when you own a home, you have a responsibility to take care of the home. You have a responsibility to take care of the sidewalks. You have responsibilities to take care of the tree lawn. It's just part of being a homeowner. And if you're a landlord, then it's your responsibility. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other commission comments? Commissioner Patrick O'Donnell, sorry.
That's okay. I do support this change. I really do like we talked about technology because I couldn't vote on the last one, but the public alerting is expanded to many methods now of texting, broadcasting on radio stations, televisions, emails, things like that. So I applaud the advancement technology of alerting people. That's mostly what this proposal is just finding a way to let people know that the streets need to be cleared or safely be removed so we can get out of the snow emergency that we're in. It's not changing too many other things, a couple other words in it, so I fully support this plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner O'Donnell. Any other commission comments at this time? Seeing none, would you please vote on the introduction of 02-2023? Introduction of 02-2023 has been approved. Next item on our agenda is public comment regarding consent agenda and resolutions not on the consent agenda. If you'd like to make public comment regarding the consent agenda and resolutions not on the consent agenda, please raise your hand and we will acknowledge you to come forward to the podium. You will have 3 minutes to make your comments. Please state your name and address before making your comment and indicate which resolution you are speaking to. Are there any public comments at this time? Yes, ma'am.
Cindy Dion, 24 Poplar. I'm going to speak on Resolution 70. I am a little bit of mixed emotions here. I understand that we want to live under the United States flag and the state of Michigan flag, and I can see that that's pretty inclusive of all of us, but there are things about us that are unique and special, And for a person to feel included, it doesn't seem like an incorrect thing to fly a flag for Black History Month, a flag for Pride. All of these things are celebrations of life in the United States. And while maybe it isn't right to put that flag up with the United States flag and the state flag, maybe what we need to do is in one of the places where we celebrate, there's a flag pole there where we could post the flags of that particular celebration. I really think for an inclusive community, we need to celebrate the uniqueness and the diversity of the community. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, Reese.
Reese Adkins, 24 Popular. One of the things I seen when I looked at the backup material on this proposal is the people that are on this committee that we're voting on tonight are all city commissioners, vice mayor, two of which denied the last time we had a flag put up. But what I'd like to see is citizens, not just commissioners, but citizens on this committee. Because every other committee you have, planning council, neighborhood council, downtown Battle Creek council, all these other committees, we have public people, not commissioners, but public people on these committees. But yet this committee that you're wanting to form to even look at this is all just commissioners. I don't think that's fair, because I think that people in the public should have ability to voice their opinion other than being at this meeting on the situation, what's going on with the flag. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other public comments? Yes, sir.
John Kennevic, 234 South Avenue. I'll be brief. I spoke in regards to this matter when they originally brought it up. I'm indifferent to whatever flags are. I don't tend to look at them myself personally, but I also look at the legal issues. For example, if you want inclusiveness, if somebody came up here and said, I want a Black Lives Matter flag up there, and somebody says, I want a yellow flag up there, a white flag up there, and you say no to them, well, that's not inclusive now, is it? How about a rebel flag? Would that be acceptable up there? Or would you find that offensive? How about a KKK flag? Would that be acceptable? Because if they come here and they say, I want a KKK flag up here, and you say no, well, you're not including them, are you? You're discriminating. It doesn't matter to me most of the time what you're doing up here. I mean, as far as the flag business, it's mostly indifferent to me. I just see a door opening up and problems that you are creating here. It's got nothing to do with lesbian, gay flags or anything like that. They are free to fly those flags, unless you passed an ordinance yet that'll stop that, on their own property. And one final comment in regard to ownership. I will pay each one of you $1,000 in a wager if you can show me in any dictionary the definition of own that says making rent payments to the government. I know what the definition is. The definition is as of to oneself or belonging to oneself. Just like that shirt you're wearing up there. Or the glasses you wear. Does anybody charge you costs on those? Property taxes are rent. So you really don't own it. And that is the public right-of-way, not private property. You obviously have missed that. I guess you think people should be servants of their government, do their job while they get paid. Excuse me, I'm off subject.
Any other public comments? Yes, Jerry.
Once again, I didn't come here to talk about the flag, but I got to be honest. When I think about the opposition to the black flag flying, I look at a bigger picture. Let me tell y'all, whenever something has to be done for people of color, a law has to be passed. It just can't be natural that what happens to white folks can happen to everybody. Now look here, they say we got free speech, but I can't come in the building and yell fire if it ain't one. I know it. So when you think about the law and how it relates to African Americans or people of color, and you reply to the law, you can say, well, they got a right to fly their flag. This is America. They got a right to free expression. Mr. Conifeck brought up a bunch of people, the KKK, you know, the other people that all want to be subversive. It's a line that you can't cross. It's called libel. I can't run in the building like I just told y'all and say it's a fire and it's not one. If America is to be inclusive, it has to include everyone. Hey, I may not agree with Roe versus Wade. I may not agree with the dictates of the Ku Klux Klan or the skinheads. I may not agree with Donald Trump or the Republicans and the Democrats who are at each other's throats. But I know one thing, I got a voice, and everyone else has a voice in America, unless something has changed in the last 5 minutes. So when you think about inclusiveness, and I knew it was going to be a static about the flag. You know, I fly one in my yard, if you've been by there. I think that we got to get closer to understanding how each other feel about different issues. And I'm not just talking about politically. I'm talking about when you get down to the nitty-gritty. What makes you and I always at each other's throats about issues which should be moot? Flying the flag? Proclaiming you gay? Proclaiming that a woman can't have the right to say what happens to her body? I think we're getting way off the mark, y'all. You know, we got too few people making life-changing decisions for the masses, and it ain't working out. So what do you feel about it? How do you feel about the flag? Evidently, it means something. You know, you let it fly. Sorry, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Jerry. Thank you. Any other public comments at this time?
Yeah, Adam Heikla, former Bedford Township supervisor. Yeah, about this flag resolution, I think Mr. Kinnifick's point was that, you know, we can't, you know, there's going to be people that you don't want to maybe have a flag that could possibly come in and ask for a flag to be there. The point of that is that we shouldn't be putting flags up in the name of inclusivity, all right? Because as soon as you put a flag up that another group in the community doesn't approve of it, doesn't like, guess what? You're not putting a flag up saying, hey, we're inclusive of this. Oh, you'll get your turn to put your flag up. No, let's put a flag up to tick off a bunch of other people in the community for a period of time. I mean, that's what you're talking about doing, putting flags up. The flags you should have up here would be the state of Michigan, the United States, maybe the city of Battle Creek if we have a flag. Other than that, what other flag should you have? I would say a Christian flag because I'm a Christian and I would put that on display out there. But other than that, what flag should we have to show in our community that we're inclusive? There's nothing that we need to say that we're inclusive. We just need to be inclusive, like this gentleman said. Let's be inclusive. We don't need to put on fake displays of inclusivity, fake displays of diversity, when it's not really diverse. The diversity that we need is a diversity of thought amongst every one of you to actually think individually, critically on topics. What we need is individuals from the community to come with their individual, diverse mind so that we can have the true creativity to solve the diverse, complex problems that you all face in our communities today. But when we start doing things of forcing inclusivity, when we're not really inclusive, when our community is not including people for all kinds of things, we don't need to put on displays of fakeness for inclusivity. So I would suggest that you, in this flag stuff, say, hey, let's leave the two flags that actually include everybody here, would be the United States flag and the Michigan flag. Thank you.
Are there any other public comments? Seeing none, we'll go to commission comment regarding meeting business.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to approve the consent agenda. Is there any questions by the commission? Seeing none, would you please vote on the consent agenda? The consent agenda has been approved. Next item on our agenda is Resolution 64. Madam Clerk, when you're ready.
Under the Michigan Municipal Planning Commission Act, PA 33 of 2008, as amended, the city is required to prepare annually a capital improvement program of public structures and improvements, CIP, in order to further the desirable future development of the local unit of government under the master plan. A multi-departmental group reviewed the CIP projects and scored them using the priority-based budgeting model to be sure projects and available resources are aligned with our community results and two-year action plan. The CIP was presented to the Planning Commission in December 2022, and they have recommended approval. This resolution seeks approval for the capital improvement program for fiscal years 2024 through 2029.
Move to adopt.
Support.
Been moved and supported to approve Resolution 64. Are there any questions by the commission? Seeing none, would you please vote on Resolution 64? Resolution 64 has been approved. Next item on our agenda is Resolution 65. Madam Clerk, when you're ready.
This project seeks authorization to upgrade the airport's existing Windows XP Cooper Crouse Hines ALCMS computer system with a Windows 10 Cooper Crouse Hines ALCMS computer system. Cooper Crouse Hines is the vendor of choice to replace the ALCMS computer system, as they installed our existing system and the hardware that the ALCMS computer system controls and monitors is Cooper Crouse Hines equipment. This project includes constant current regulators for the airfield lighting circuits and selector switches for items such as the rotating beacon, precision approach path indicators, and wind cones. The city's administrative code allows exceptions for purchases outside of the competitive sealed bidding process in case of emergency repairs or replacements, and when such procedures are deemed unnecessary and burdensome and not in the best interest of the city by the city manager. This is such a case. However, City Commission approval is required on purchases that exceed $50,000. This resolution seeks authorization to enter into a contract for airport lighting control and monitoring systems, ALCMS, upgrades with Cooper Crouse Hines, LLC, in a not-to-exceed amount of $118,343.50.
Move to adopt.
Support.
So moved and supported to approve Resolution 65. Are there any comments, questions, or clarifications by the commission? Seeing none, would you please vote on Resolution 65? Resolution 65 has been approved. Next item on our agenda is Resolution 66. Madam Clerk?
Each year, American Legal Publishing updates and revises the city code book based upon the ordinances and resolutions previously adopted by the City Commission. As required by the City Charter, Section 4.6 Codification, the City Commission shall, by resolution, within 2 years from the date this charter is adopted by the electors and every 10 years thereafter, wholly or partially codify and recodify the ordinance of the city into one or more ordinances in loose leaf or pamphlet form, and may provide for a reasonable charge for copies thereof. This resolution seeks approval for the editing and inclusion of certain ordinances and resolutions as parts of the various component codes of the codified ordinances, and repealing ordinances and resolutions in conflict therewith.
Move to adopt.
Support.
Been moved and supported to approve Resolution 66. Are there any comments, questions, or clarifications by the commission? Seeing none, would you please vote on Resolution 66? Resolution 66 has been approved. Next item on our agenda is Resolution 67. Madam Clerk, when you're ready.
A solicitation was issued May 2nd, 2022 for an airport layout plan at the City of Battle Creek Executive Airport at Kellogg Field. As this project will be funded through FAA, the city is required to adhere to the Brooks Act in the selection of the firm to be used. The Brooks Act is a federal law that requires that architect or engineering A&E firms be selected based solely upon their competency, qualifications, and experience without consideration to price. This resolution seeks acceptance of the qualifications-based proposal for an airport layout plan from Mead & Hunt Incorporated to provide an airport layout plan at the City of Battle Creek Executive Airport at Kellogg Field in a not-to-exceed amount of $645,921.35.
Move to adopt.
Support.
Been moved and supported to approve Resolution 67. Are there any comments, questions, or clarifications by the commission? Seeing none, would you please vote on Resolution 67? Resolution 67 has been approved. Next item on our agenda is Resolution 68. Madam Clerk.
A solicitation was issued December 15, 2022 for sealed bids for replacement of the two existing chiller units and associated components for the Battle Creek Executive Airport at Kellogg Field. The project includes two new air-cooled chillers to provide air conditioning to the Air Traffic Control Tower, ATCT, with options to allow bidding on alternates. This resolution seeks acceptance of the lowest responsible bid for Air Traffic Control Tower Chiller Replacement Project from Monarch Welding and Engineering Incorporated in a not-to-exceed amount of $171,750.
Move to adopt.
Support.
Been moved and supported to approve Resolution 68. Are there any questions, clarifications? Yes, Commissioner Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was just curious if we had any context or any justification as to why this low bid was, I would say, somewhat significantly lower than the competitors. Did we have any feedback on how their pricing was so advantageous?
Yes, and our airport director is here and can help with that question.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Smith. They didn't necessarily give a reason why they were that dollar amount lower than the other bids that we received. Instead of a RFQ where it was solely based on qualifications and price necessarily wasn't a factor, the RFP just allowed us to be more selective with the pricing, and they met all the requirements that we had for the pricing, so we didn't find a reason not to accept it. So we were happy with the results that they provided.
Right. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's great news.
Thank you, Commissioner Smith, and our airport director, too.
Sure.
Any other questions? Seeing none, would you please vote on Resolution 68? Resolution 68 has been approved. Next item on our agenda is Resolution 69. Madam Clerk, when you're ready.
As of June 30, 2022, the Intermodal Transportation Center, ITC, fund shows a deficit in the amount of $34,285. the Glenn Steele State Revenue Sharing Act of 1971, Public Act 140 of 1971, Section 21, Section 2, states that units of local government that end their fiscal year in a deficit condition shall formulate a deficit elimination plan. If the City Commission approves this resolution, this deficit elimination plan will be filed with the Michigan Department of Treasury. During the year ended 6/30/20, the ITC fund was created and activity related to the intermodal facility was moved out of the general fund. This was done as the implementation of a long-term parking system was underway to separately track revenues and expenditures as well as fund balance related to the activities of the facility. Adjustments were made during the fiscal year ended 2020 to move capital assets from the government-wide financial statements to the fund itself. The deficit at 6/30/22 was the result of a fiscal year 2022 pre-audit finance adjustment to correct the balance of capital assets held by the fund that should have been made in fiscal year 2020. This resolution requests approval of a deficit elimination plan for the Intermodal Transportation Center Fund.
Move to adopt.
Support.
So moved and supported to approve Resolution 69. Are there any comments, questions, or clarifications needed by the Commission? Seeing none, would you please vote on Resolution 69? Resolution 69 has been approved. Next item on our agenda is Resolution 70. Madam Clerk, when you're ready.
The City Commission adopted a flag display policy by Resolution 180 on July 6, 2021. At its adoption, and since its adoption, several commissioners have questioned whether we should have a flag display policy and whether it should be amended. In response to the expressed concerns consistent with City Ordinance 212.029, Mayor Banky presented a request to City Attorney for a resolution to be placed on the agenda to establish an ad hoc committee to study the policy and make a report and recommendation to the full commission. The request was supported by Commissioner Roger Ballard and Vice Mayor Sherry Sophia as co-sponsors. This resolution seeks to create an ad hoc advisory committee to review the flag display policy.
Move to adopt.
Support.
So moved and supported to approve Resolution 70. Are there any comments, questions, or clarifications needed by the Commission? Commissioner O'Donnell.
Yeah, this ordinance, I'm glad that we're having a group take a look at it. Doesn't mean that we're changing anything, but there's like definitions in it that are kind of vague, like what's a commemorative flag? I mean, that type of stuff. So I'm hoping that the committee, what type of report they got to help well define our ordinance for the flag. So thank you for your volunteer time to take care of this.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other comments by the Commission? Commissioner Simmons.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for calling me the other day and asking me if I would be interested in serving on this. I think I brought up some concerns about the policy as it is written, and I voted against the flag that was brought before us at the last meeting because I just wasn't clear on what our criteria was if these come before us. And I've dug a little bit further into it and found out that there have been, at least there was one other flag that was submitted to the city that never even came to us, and it was dismissed by city staff on that it was religious grounds. And it was questionable to me when I looked at the flag whether it was religious or not. And so it's just something that, and probably if this had come to us, I probably would have, it was a sanctity of life flag, I think it was, would have voted against it because, again, I don't think our criteria is very clear as what ultimately comes before us or what gets weeded out by city staff. There's just too many questions, and I think some of our residents expressed some concerns there that I share. So thank you for the suggestion on the recommendation on the appointment. I'm happy to serve and look forward to working with fellow commissioners to see if there's something we can change in that policy.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other Commission comments? Commissioner Reynolds.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, my concern is it something that you're trying to do away with, or you're just making some changes in the language? That's what I'm trying to understand.
Well, I certainly hope that we're not going to do away with it.
Okay.
But there seems to be some reservations that have been expressed, and I just felt if no one was going to do something, as mayor, I felt that it would be best to bring a group of people together to discuss it. We could probably have it done in maybe 2 months, maybe 3 months. It depends. It's going to be all up to the committee, and then they'll report back to the full commission.
Thank you. I just wanted a clear understanding
Thank
of
you.
what this advisory board was going to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Reynolds. Commissioner Morris.
So I'm not necessarily in favor of removing this, kind of similar to what Commissioner Reynolds said, but I do understand that there is a need to get some clarification done, so I will be supporting this tonight.
Thank you, Commissioner Morris. Any other commission comment at this time? Seeing none, would you please vote on Resolution 70? Resolution 70 has been approved. Next item on our agenda is a general public comment. If you'd like to make general public comment regarding matters over which the City Commission has control, please raise your hand and wait for us to acknowledge you, and then come forward to the podium. You will have 3 minutes to make your comment. Please state your name and address prior to beginning your comment. Are there any public comments at this time? Seeing none, we'll move on to... Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see any hands, so. Reese Adkins, we'll go with you first.
Good evening. Reese Adkins, 24 Popular, Battle Creek, Michigan. In front of you, you will see a piece of paper like this with a smaller piece of paper stapled to it. We have newer commissioners up there, and I'm sure you're going to be getting answers. And before wrong information gets in front of you, I want to give you the correct information concerning your food bank standpoints for people that are in need, which the need right now is extremely high. The top part of this first one are neighborhood food pantries. Please do not send somebody to one of these that is not in their neighborhood, because they will be turned away and they will be told which neighborhood one to go to. It depends on where they live. The bottom portion of this and the back page are food banks that you can send them to, that it don't matter where they live. There are also on your places where they can get hot meals. I appreciate my boss for the Northeast Food Pantry, who has gone with me and another one and put this together so that citizens knows what they've got. And I do encourage any one of you commissioners, if you want to know how the food bank runs or how we do things, come on out. You know, they are on this also, the days that they are open and the hours that they are open. Please come out and see how they do, because I'm telling you, you'll be very, very surprised at the amount of people that come to the food bank. I do the Northeast Food Bank, which is right over on Northeast Capitol, and we average anywhere from 52 to 70 plus people in 3 days. And 90% of these or more do need the food. And so I encourage you, come out and look at your local food pantries and see exactly how much work we actually do with very little funding. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Any other public comment? Yes, Mr. Steiner.
Jerry Steiner, 115 South 26th Street. I'd like to applaud Commissioner Reynolds, Commissioner Morris, and the mayor for getting together with the intern chief of police I think it was last Tuesday or Wednesday, to try to get ahead of this Tyree Nichols thing. Well, anybody who's sat down at the evening meal and looked at the news know exactly what I'm talking about. But we're talking about Tyree Nichols, George Floyd, and the list goes on and on. But only this time, there's a caveat. They say, well, it was 5 black police that killed him. Well, if my grandmother was alive, she would tell everybody in this room, if you're going to tell it all. Anybody who runs the numbers knows that black people kill each other faster than any police force. So the only thing that happened this time, instead of being in the community killing, they became police officers. So there is some credence to a certain amount of association brings about assimilation. And these 5 black officers and the other ones that was fired behind them thought they could get away with murder, even though they were on camera. So as far as the community coming together and trying to get ahead of this, like I say, I applaud the mayor, the 2 commissioners, and I believe the city clerk was there also. And it was a mix of the community trying to come together to head off what could very well happen here. We know that life brings about trials and tribulations that we don't foresee. But my grandmama used to say, and boy, I miss her, because she never told me nothing wrong. She told me, she said, baby, if you can, get ready. But if you are serious, stay ready. I advise everybody here that the same thing that could happen in Memphis, Tennessee, could very well happen here. But I believe we have a bunch of leaders here that are going to head that off. Now, this new intern police say he has 17 new recruits. Hey, y'all, I don't sleep on the church steps, but I go. God is up here, but the police is right up under them. The most powerful people you'll ever meet in your life that don't know you, that have ultimate power over your life, and probably more so are people of color or poor people. So keep that in mind when you make decisions that affect the entire community, and you might be able to draw upon it a little closer. Peace, y'all.
Thank you very much, Jerry. Are there any other public comments at this time? Yes, sir.
Adam Michaela, former Bedford Township Supervisor. Back on January 19th, I received a good faith estimate for FOIA request number 23-124. That good faith estimate gave a breakdown for different offices and gave a dollar amount per hour that it would cost for them to do the work, which is standard. In researching and understanding the FOIA law, I emailed a question back to the city clerk asking the specifics. I said the lowest paid employee in the clerk's office is $33.44 an hour, because that's what was on the good faith estimate. I said that the lowest paid in the police department is $31.15 an hour, and the lowest paid in the police lab is $52.12 an hour. I asked this because in the FOIA law, Section 4, so it's 15.234, I believe it is. 15.234, subsection 2. States, when calculating labor costs under subsections 1A, B, or E, fee components shall be itemized in a manner that expresses both the hourly wage and the number of hours charged. The public body may also add up to 50% to the applicable labor charge amount to cover or partially cover the cost of fringe benefits if it clearly notes the percentage multiplier used to account for benefits in the detailed itemization described in subsection 4. So I went to your page, looked up your code. In section 5 states that labor costs will also include a charge to cover or partially cover the cost of fringe benefits. The city may add up to 50% to the applicable labor charge amount to cover or partially cover the cost of fringe benefits, but in no case may exceed the actual cost of fringe benefits. So all that does is reiterate, but it doesn't actually do what it says that you're required to do in order to charge us for those fringe benefits. You need to clearly state the amount in which you are charging me. So that's why I asked that question back to the city clerk. of which I have not had a reply. So what I'm doing is I'm going to petition to you now, the City Commission, a reduction in this fee based on this violation of the Freedom of Information Act, because that is my ability based on the law. So I have for you here, Mayor, a copy of what I just read you. Now, I would ask the clerk to, if she could, I realized when I got here that the email did not print out the entire breakdown.
Okay, Adam, you're done.
And so I'd like for her to do that is all.
Adam,
For the public record,
Your public
fact,
comment is done. Would you please sit down?
Yeah, I'm going to deliver this to you and to the
No,
attorney.
no, you're
So-
not. No, you're not. If you
Yes,
deliver
I
it to
am.
anyone, you'll go to the clerk. You'll go to the clerk.
Well, this is for, you can deliver it to them.
Yep.
And the copy is not in there for the breakdown.
Okay, Adam, I'm sorry, you're done.
Okay.
Is there any other public comment at this time? Yes, John.
John Kennevic, 234 South Avenue. At 1:17 today, I called the police department of the dispatch center. There was a break-in at a property that I had under repair. I explained to them that I couldn't be there immediately because I had a previous engagement but would return shortly. I requested them to do a drive-by because there were still items that had not been stolen from the property that were out in the driveway. Nothing happened. I cleared my response that I had to take care of, my appointment, came right back, and as I'm coming back, I'm informing the 911 dispatch center that I will be there within 10 minutes, and I was there. 2 police officers showed up in 1 car. I suggested immediately that they should call the scrap yards. The police officer responded by saying we wanted information from the neighbors that may give a witness or give an idea of who was the people that were involved in this. While they were doing that, I was calling the scrap yards. I called 2 of them, Franklin and Lafayette. The third one I did not call because I could not remember the name or the number. Speaking with the police, and after they left, I talked with the neighbors. They did not interview some people that had been making phone calls to the police department and the 911 dispatch center in regards to people and approaching 2 properties, one and the property next to mine, with no response over a 2-week period. They said they knew what was going on, but the police did not respond. I left after the police officers left. I went to get some screws to screw in the boards that they had ripped off. But instead of doing that, I went to Great Lakes Recycling on Raymond Road. There was part of my equipment already been crushed and destroyed. There were some parts that were remaining. There were power equipment, tool equipment, woodworking equipment. I informed the people there. I also informed the police to come out and take a look at this so I wasn't just having myself talk about this. 2 police officers showed up while we were pulling stuff out of the area. They were in the office. They thought that I was very inconsiderate. I was very hyped up, and I don't care what you have to think because I have pre-existing things that have happened with the police department, myself, and the judicial system. We caught people in the past stealing my safety equipment. It was a felony, knocked down to a misdemeanor, and they walked that very day. Not that long ago, as in 2 Decembers back, somebody broke into a house that I was working on. The police officer went out of his way and found out one of the items was at Secondhand City. We didn't know who broke into the house, but we do know who was selling stolen things, the stolen items. Turns out that the prosecutor's office tells the police officer, you got to go up and tell the person they caught that they know that was selling stolen items, you either tell us who it is or we're going to issue a warrant for your arrest. That's putting the cart before the horse. You issue the arrest, you arrest them, then you negotiate. Oh, by the way, 5 more break-ins since then. I appreciate your judicial system and your
Thank you,
police
John.
department.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment at this time? Is there any other public comment? Seeing none, any commission comment? Commissioner O'Donnell.
Reese, I'd like to thank you for your presentation for the food banks today. Just one correction, and I was going to announce this tonight. KCC does theirs on the 3rd Tuesday of the month. And I was going to make that announcement that this month on February 21st at the Miller Building, they'll be distributing fresh food out there. And also on March 21st and April 18th and May 16th. So, let's say that.
I'll get this one.
The other comment I have is, I did also attend the Tuesday night community healing last week, and a lot of nice community members showed up. And it was just a nice evening to at least express the frustration, but then the horror of the situation. But it's just nice to come together and try to problem solve, and so we don't have something like that happen here. And it came away with a lot of different ideas at the end of the evening. So thank you for the church for holding that and everyone that showed up to that. One last comment I'd like to make is that I know next month is actually March with Reading Month, but I think one of the things was brought up at that event was our educational system. And I thought, you know what? I just want to make this announcement. And people that are watching later on this week, just read something to someone tonight before you go to bed. Read the back of the shampoo bottle. It doesn't matter. Just make people feel that they're special enough that you can read something to them. And we're protecting our language and trying to teach something that is beyond the politics in this world, just to be the caringness that we give one another acknowledgement out there. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner O'Donnell. Any other commission comments? I'm not seeing any. We'll adjourn our meeting. Thank you very much for attending.